Lords and ladies, I am Sir Robert Chessman, His Majesty's Royal Falconer. Today I'm going to show you some birds of prey for your enjoyment, lords and ladies, but most importantly for your education here today. Hopefully everybody comes away from here learning a little something new about each and every bird we have to share with you here today. Now, before we begin, lords and ladies, there are a few things that we must know. First of all, if anyone has brought with them any food items this day, particularly meat items, please be aware that these are predators that do eat meat. If you brought turkey legs, steak on a stick, anything of the like, please hide all food items at this time. Next, lords and ladies, if anyone happens to have brought with them any pets this day, please be aware that those too are meat items. Dogs, cats, ferrets, pocket mice, children, anything like that, please hide all of those very well at this time. A little Simba over there. Lastly, if any of the birds do happen to fly next to you, please do not at any time reach out to try and touch them. That could be hazardous for both you and for the birds. That being said, lords and ladies, are we ready to see some birds of prey? Then let's begin. We are first going to meet a very beautiful bird that comes to us all the way from Africa. Please welcome Orion, everybody. Now this is a very unusual type of bird because he does some very unusual behaviors. This is called the African auger buzzard, but what does he look like? A hawk. You're right, it is a hawk. It's in the hawk family. The difference is in the language. In Europe and Africa, where these birds are found, hawks are actually named buzzards, whereas here in the States, vultures are sometimes called buzzards. The difference is, there's not actually an animal here in this country that's named a buzzard like he is. Now, he has a very unusual behavior that he does out in the wild that is called kleptoparasitism. Doesn't mean he steals parrots. Means that he steals food from other animals, particularly other birds of prey. Now he's got a very short tail that allows him to be acrobatic when he flies. He has the ability with his very short tail to flip upside down to steal food away from other birds while they're flying away with their prey. Well, we're going to go ahead and send him back and move along, so lords and ladies, say goodbye to Orion, the African auger buzzard. Alright, lords and ladies, we have seen so far what we call a diurnal bird or a daytime bird. Anyone know what we might encounter for at night time? Shout it out!
Owl!
I'm sorry, who?
Owl!
Who?
Owl!
I know it's early, but that was a really foul joke. He begging me on this a lot. We do have some owls to show you, lords and ladies. Please welcome Owlness Dumbledore to the stage. Give him a big welcome.
Woo!
Now this is what's called a great horned owl. It's very common to this area. It's one of the more familiar sounds that you hear in the forest at night time. Now, it doesn't bother him to be out during the daylight at all. They can adjust their pupils the same way that we do to let in just the right amount of light. So they can do come out during the daylight. They just prefer to hunt mostly at night time when they don't have as much competition. Now, in birds of prey species, females are larger in overall body weight and size than males by about 1/3. So a female stands another third taller than he does. So lords and ladies, we have one for comparison. I'd like to introduce everybody to Luna. Give her a big welcome, everybody. Now, the reason that she is in captivity with us, although they look good and healthy, they are, but she's with us because she was struck by a vehicle and determined to be non-releasable because it affected her eyes in such a way that she's not able to focus in on her prey. She just would not survive out in the wild. They do eat things like rabbits, rats, squirrels, mice, snakes. Does anybody know what the horned owl's favorite food actually is? I'll give you a hint. It's black and white and smelly all over. That's right. So it's a really good thing they don't have a sense of smell, isn't it? In fact, most birds do not have a sense of smell. We're going to meet one later on that actually does. These birds have really great gripping strengths in their feet. This one about 250 pounds of gripping power in his feet. That one over there about 350 in hers. We are about to meet another one I think you'll enjoy seeing up close because it's not just any owl. This is the largest species of owl on Earth. He's just 6 months old. Lords and ladies, please welcome Nicodemus to the show. Give him a great big welcome. Now, this is what's known as an eagle owl. They are found in Europe and Asia, and they are quite powerful hunters. Again, they do eat rabbits, rats, squirrels, mice, snakes, and he would have between 600 and 800 pounds of gripping power on those feet, so he can actually add foxes to the list of his diet as well. A tremendous hunter indeed. Now, we are going to get a chance to meet a few of these at the end of the program, so for now, say goodbye to His Majesty's favourite, the Royal Hooters Alternatives.
Don't encourage him.
If they get it, it's not their fault.
Don't encourage him, it only makes it worse.
She said, don't encourage me, it only makes me worse. She's right, you know, but I'm just going to wing it from here. I love your wife, let me shout it all. Alright then, next up, we're going to meet another band I think you'll enjoy seeing up close. This one is actually the largest and most dangerous bird we have to share with you here today. I think you'll enjoy seeing him. I should mention ladies that this particular bird is not like men at all, including me. Loves my wife, me not so much. We'll talk a bit more about that as we go along. I'd like to introduce everyone to Ray, the king vulture from South America. Give him a good welcome, everyone. Now, the reason that he's not like men is not because he's ever been mistreated or abused or anything like that. He was an accidental hatch at a zoo in Arizona where he was primarily raised by the lady zookeepers. But whenever he needed to be treated for medical reasons or to be groomed in some fashion, the gents would come around and restrain him because he's such a big bird. Consequently, 30 years later, he still has that stuck in his head. He thinks if we get near him, he's going to get grabbed. So he becomes very defensive, which makes him very dangerous, especially to the gents. Now, I should mention while he's out here that of the 23 species of vultures that are found here on Earth, this year, 19 of those are unfortunately endangered or critically endangered. Now, the reason for it is something you might not connect with the decline of vultures, and it's actually related to ivory poaching. So, what's been going on is that in India and Africa, where they poach the rhinos and the elephants, the vultures know who the poachers are, and they follow them around waiting for them to kill something. The problem for the poachers is that all of those vultures give away their position to the game wardens. So what they've started doing is just shooting all the vultures they see, then poisoning the carcasses to kill off the rest of them. The problem with that is that some of these giant vultures don't reach breeding age until they turn 7 years old. And even then, they only have one child every other year. So, that being said, they just can't propagate fast enough to keep up with the massive decline. Many of you may remember we had another giant vulture here several years ago who would strip all of the meat off of the chicken drumstick in less than 15 seconds. Anybody remember that? Yes. And the African whiteback vulture. It's not here because of what's going on out in the wild. Because her species 2 years ago declined in the wild by 99%.
Ooh.
So, because she was one of only 12 whitebacks left here in this country and one of the few remaining females, we partnered with the Dallas Zoo to set up a breeding program to start hopefully producing young that can eventually be turned back into the wild. Well, Ray's done a great job over here, so let's go and send it back inside. Ho, hop, say goodbye to Ray, the king vulture. Alright, next up, Horton ladies. We're going to need to bet I think you'll enjoy seeing because this one, well, he's kind of comical, actually. I thought I was going to need one of those, wasn't it? So, this one is one you would typically see circling really high up in the sky, or perhaps even feasting right along the roadsides. Anyone have a clue for this one?
Red-tailed
Vulture, that's right. There are two types of vultures found here in this country. There's a turkey vulture, which has a red head, and a black vulture, which we're about to meet right here today. So, ladies, please welcome Igor, the black vulture. Give him a big welcome. And here he is. Nice and done. Now this type of bird is very valuable to us because they help to clean up the environment for all the dead and decaying animals that might otherwise spread disease around the land. They're valuable for that purpose because they're very tolerant and even immune to many diseases. For instance, this bird can completely consume an entire bowl of botulism and not even be affected by that. It really was suited for their job out in the wild. Now, they're also considered to be very intelligent. In fact, they may have the intelligence about equivalent to a 3-year-old child. And to help us out here today, we have a special assistant, my own child. Please welcome Princess Piper, ladies. Now, Ivor's job is to choose the same colored egg that she chooses out of the basket. This is what we're going to do to determine that they can in fact see in color. So what's it? Yellow's going to be your color today, alright? So put them down, find a yellow egg. Nicely done. Good job. Now inside that egg there's actually a meat reward. If you're wondering if the smell of the meat plays a factor in finding the right color, the answer is no. There's an old myth or wives' tale that says if you were to find a baby bird, not to touch it because the parents would smell you and not take care of it. Anybody heard that before?
Yes.
Okay, well that's just an old myth. Most birds do not have a sense of smell. Again, there's one notable exception to that we're going to meet here in just a few moments. But for the most part, most birds don't have that sense of smell. Well, he's done a great job. We're going to send him back as well. Say goodbye to Igor.
Most of the way.
Hey, I've got a question for you all today. Does anybody know why the vulture crossed the road?
Why?
It was because the chicken didn't make it.
Oh!
You can use that one. Right. Okay, up next, lords and ladies, we're going to meet a bird I know you'll enjoy. This one is actually found here in this area. He's also just 6 months old and a new addition to our program. He is going to do a quick demonstration for us to show us what it looks like when a bird like this misses its prey. So give me just 1 moment, I've got to reset his treat here. If you're wondering what he's getting as a treat, something we sometimes refer to as Mises Pieces. You can figure that one out yourselves. Alright, here we go. Let's see if that works. Alright, stand on. I'd like to introduce everybody to Finn, the Heron's Hawk. There we go, nicely done, right?
Woo!
Now, he will protect this just as though he's captured real prey. And a bird this size actually has about 150 pounds of pressure gripping power in those feet. Now, this one doesn't really have to have that great of a gripping strength. Remember, in birds of prey, females are larger. This is actually a male. He is just 6 months old, but birds are generally considered full grown when they leave their nest. So when they're fully feathered and able to fly, that's just as big as they will get. So he's not in his adult plumage currently, but he will grow into that over the next year. So he's still killing it. See how he's got his wings folded over? That's actually a baby behavior. That's called mantling. It's a behavior that starts off very early in the nest. When the parents bring it through to the babies, they really want to protect their food from their brothers and sisters in the nest. Sort of like us being at home at the dinner table. So they hide it with those wings, and that behavior is called mantling. Is that one I've been talking about that has the exceptional sense of smell? Or should I say, exceptional sense of smell? Welcome. This one is unusual because of his sense of smell. It is quite rare. Also, I'm going to tell you a little story about how he came to us. So, lords and ladies, please welcome Severus, the turkey vulture. Give him a big welcome. Now, Severus has been a part of our program for several years, but he's strictly been a display bird when we have displays available. However, he was, in fact, a vehicle impact victim before he came to us. That wing was so badly damaged, we never thought he would be able to fly in any capacity. But last year, he started demonstrating some abilities to leap a little bit further within his enclosure, so we started giving him some special exercises. And this is the result. he's actually adapted to that injury and has started to fly some short distances. He's doing really good, actually. So because this bird has such a fantastic sense of smell, there's something really interesting going on with the study of this bird, particularly in Germany. So what they've been doing, because he does have that sense of smell, he can cover a really good far distance of ground much better than a dog can. So they're teaching them to work in conjunction with dogs for a special purpose, and that is to find cadavers following disasters. So what they're doing is getting these birds, because they can smell their prey for about 2 miles away. I guess you could call it prey. But, so once they can take it over from the air, they're taught to give the dogs a signal on the ground. The dogs then zero in on where that might be so they can find those folks faster, so they can get back to where they need to be in a sooner manner. Let's see if we do this distance. Here we go. Over here. You can do it. Woo! Who that was, but thank you very much. He's done a great job. He's actually kind of daddy's boy, so come on over one more time. You want to go inside? Hey, hey! I know. Woo! All right, next up, Alton ladies. Let's switch this out. We can introduce a bird that's actually considered to be the most common and numerous bird of prey found throughout all of North America, but this time, I'm not going to tell you what it is. Let's test your identification skills, see if anybody can identify this bird. It's really an easy one. So, Alton ladies, please welcome Mario to the stage.
It's a Mario.
He doesn't want to
All right, that's all. So, by the way, this is actually for his species, one of the oldest birds that we have in our collection. This particular one lives to be approximately 15 years old. This year, Mario is 21 years old.
Woo!
Let's try to get him to do a little demonstration to show us what it looks like when they're hunting their prey. They eat rabbits, rats, squirrels, mice, rattlesnakes, snakes in general is also a big part of their diet. Speaking of things he eats, would you in fact like to see him do a little bit of hunting for us here today? Yeah. Really? Are we sure about that? Yeah. Well, it is a really short walk down to the petting zoo, so follow us down this road right here. You're a bloodthirsty lot, you know that, right? Alright, let's see if he'll do this morning. He's a little chilly, looks like. He's a little puffed up. Hey, did you see what he just did? He shook his feathers out. Have you ever heard the term a rousing good time? It's an old falconer's term that refers to a happy and contented bird. That's where that term originated from. I don't know what you can do with that information, but there you go. Alright, let's see who'll do it. Ready? Hut, hut. And
Woo!
his prey. Nicely done that. If you would like to drop something in our basket, Alton ladies, please know all proceeds benefit these animals directly. There are some feeders, bird feeders, actually hanging out in the arbor if you'd like to drop something back there. And we have some touchless codes you can scan now this year as well. So, have a magical day here in our kingdom, Alton ladies. Thanks so much for coming. Enjoy your day.